Good afternoon. Welcome to Industry Chats. This is Jasmine Saliga, your host. I'm also the founder and CEO of Affixify, and I am beyond excited. My life came a little bit more full circle today to have my friend Chris Jackson, Principal and Chief Evangelist of G-Commerce Solutions, as our guest today. Chris, welcome.
Thank you, Jasmine. So good to reconnect with you from 20 years of working
20 years.
with a little pause in between.
Quick pause. In fact, I want you to introduce yourself, but I do have to share this because I don't get to do this with most of our guests. So I met Chris 3 weeks into an internship when I started in hospitality. I was 23 years old and I met you at High Tech through, you partnered with the company I worked with. And so for me to be able to have you on our own show is like a very cool moment. So Chris, thank you for joining. You have not changed a bit in 20 years. You look the same. So you need to give me your secrets, but
Yeah, it's keeping the beard short so the gray hair doesn't come out as much. It's really
okay. Okay. I can't take that tip, unfortunately. But tell the audience. So for those watching today, for those watching on YouTube, just give a quick intro. Many know who you are. I was already getting messages like, oh, Chris, he's going to be on the show. So, but tell us, a little bit about you, G-Commerce, your product, MetaDesk, and then we'll dive into today's topic.
Excellent. Yeah. So as Jasmine said, longtime industry veteran, 30 plus years, dating myself a little bit here now. But really started in hotel operations as a general manager and regional manager for a number of upscale hotels and resorts throughout the U.S. But then back in 2003, I was asked to join G-Commerce Solutions, and a little bit about G-Commerce. We spent a little over 2 decades now helping hotels and resorts grow by building smart, data-driven digital marketing strategies, covering everything from search and social to display and retargeting. Ultimately, we know how to connect with the right travelers at the right time, driving demand across every stage of the booking funnel. But the journey doesn't really stop there. That's where MetaDesk is our meta search product and platform. That's where MetaDesk comes in. MetaDesk ensures hotels show up front and center when travelers are ready to book, leveraging real-time campaign optimization that not only drives direct reservations, but also fits the specific needs of our hotel partners. Together, G-Commerce and MetaDesk give hoteliers really the ultimate advantage, a fully integrated digital marketing and distribution strategy that not only captures new guests, but keeps them coming back, maximizing revenue, profitability, and ultimately what we're all after, premium market share capture.
Amazing. I mean, I'm thinking who wouldn't want to use MetaDesk because it makes so much sense, and I think what you're doing is so important. Maybe another episode you'll have to share with us how you guys are tackling the new AI search component of that as well.
Big topic. My business partner, Scott Van Hardesvelt, was just on a panel at Hotel Data Conference last week, talking a little bit about AI. How can you go to any conference these days without AI being a topic? And I've seen even others put AI in their panel or speech title, even though they're not really speaking about AI, just to draw people.
Just to draw. I mean, honestly, you're one of the very few Industry Chats guests I have coming up that didn't choose an AI topic, which is nothing wrong with it, but I was really excited because I'm like, okay. And I'm going to be learning today from Chris. So today, Chris is going to talk with us a little bit about breaking the ROAS trap, which I just learned how to say that acronym, by the way. And so return on ad spend, I can only imagine how much you live this and how much you talk about this metric. But you have shared that, getting market share comes from smarter marketing, not just from this trap that hoteliers get in. So before we get into today's, like the meat of the topic, which is why are we so obsessed with this metric, chasing short-term wins, all of that. Tell me if I'm a hotelier joining and I'm like, okay, I need to know more about ROAS and why is it a trap? How would you describe that to a listener?
I think, ROAS, if it's the only thing you're looking at to evaluate the performance of your marketing, you might be winning, let's call it the short-term battle, in the war. Um, you know, ultimately, hotels are operating with limited marketing budgets. I think it's safe to say. Meanwhile, the cost of media keeps increasing year over year. Marketing budgets flat. Maybe if you're one of the lucky ones, you get a 3 to 5% increase. But meanwhile, media is going up 10%.
Right.
So, owners are expecting improvements year over year, but the marketing teams have less to work with and got to be really focused. I think ROAS as the primary success metric is
Mhm.
really, of course, it has value, but a session with it can really limit your market share growth, especially in the premium travel segment. I think that the inspiration stage is such an important stage of the customer journey, and it's broken.
Yeah.
Hotels are missing early funnel opportunities if they're focused on solely ROAS. Um,
Mm.
I mean, just some quick stats that I pulled up
Yeah.
in preparation. 71% of travelers consult social media influencers for inspiration. 63% say that that directly influences their final choice. That's from Accenture. Uh,
Wow.
75% of travelers say social posts inspired their destination choice. Ultimately, they're looking for that travel inspiration. And if
Yeah.
you're only or spending the lion's share of your precious digital marketing budget on the bottom of that funnel, let's call it
Mm.
brand search terms, you're missing out on really growing your brand awareness.
And that's because so I actually do get a lot of inspiration from social media for travel, so I'm resonating here. It is a shift. So when you say early funnel, are you suggesting that maybe investing in influencer marketing, investing, I mean, how if I were your client, would you say is the first step in like that top of funnel? I'm sure there's multiple facets of it, but and then second to that, what I'm hearing is it's not going to show an immediate return. This is about being in front of your potential guests, maybe over many months or a year or two before they make that decision. Is that correct?
That is correct. I mean, at the
Right.
end of the day, consumers don't wake up and think of a hotel name, a specific hotel name.
Yeah.
Something had to inspire them to go on Google, search the hotel's direct name, click on it, and book. Um,
Yeah.
we've got influence through other things. Other things may include video advertising,
Mm.
prospecting campaigns on display and social advertising. And as you mentioned, it's kind of a long-term vision when you're doing prospecting campaigns, for example.
Right.
The return on ad spend for a display prospecting campaign, I mean, if you can get a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 return on ad spend, that's okay because that's not the
Right.
focus. Your early stage in that, kind of inspirational journey stage
Yeah.
at that point. And so, what we're trying to do there is really build brand awareness and
Mm.
build audience so that we can kind of move them down the proverbial conversion funnel
Yeah.
through building audience and then, let's say, remarketing to them via social or display or remarketing lists for search advertising for them.
Right. No, I mean, I think what's so important here that I'm hearing is the world has changed in the way that we reach consumers and the way that they plan. And I know the AI topic is part of it, but it is all of these other things you're sharing. And so I'm excited because I know at some point today you're even going to share some metrics to use beyond this ROAS metric. And it sounds to me like it's almost freeing for the hotelier to get kind of out of this one box of this is the metric I need to chase and really start looking at what is my brand journey? What is the story I'm sharing? I'm sure you do a lot of that discussion with your clients as well.
Absolutely. Storytelling is critical, especially in that inspiration phase and getting that brand awareness. You we want to create emotional connection with
Yeah.
consumers. If you're a hotel, right, or a destination, you're trying to create that emotional connection and, focusing on the bottom of that proverbial conversion funnel that I was speaking about earlier, you've missed that stage to
Yeah.
create that emotional
Right.
connection through imagery, allowing a video, allowing a consumer to picture themselves and envision what that experience might be like. It's really a
Yeah.
critical aspect. to get
Yeah,
into
no,
the consideration set.
it makes so much sense. And so now this leads me to a question, because here I am thinking too, I also live and breathe like the hotel tech space, as you understand very well. And I'm still thinking like, oh, it's so wonderful to think of building the brand and the story, but we still have budget constraints, which is the reality of, most companies, but of our industry. And so you are great about sharing. There's still strategic choices you can make within those budget constraints. So how would you advise someone that says, okay, I have a limited budget, away from being defensive, but more into, even with your budget, you can still capture market share? Like, what would you say would be a good strategy to more stay on the offense rather than just trying to stick with the budget, and maybe it's not as fruitful in the end, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, you have to invest in yourself. I mean, ultimately, hotels are competing against competitors that may have bigger budgets than you. The OTAs obviously have much bigger budgets. So it's really important to invest in yourself. So one of the first questions I would ask is, how much are you paying in OTA commissions on an annualized basis? Can
Right.
you proactively try to shave some of that off to find some more monies to invest in yourself, uh, in your marketing budget that is out there?
Mhm.
It doesn't happen overnight. You've
Yeah.
got to have a GM, an owner, a management company that is willing to take that leap of faith with
Mm.
you to allot a little bit more budget
Yeah.
to be able to, again, get a little bit higher up in the funnel in that inspiration phase that we were talking about earlier. But, at the end of the day, I think it's a little bit of experimentation.
Right.
Works for one, does not work for all. And that's something that G-commerce is really focused on, is creating that very strategic kind of aspect to the digital marketing. What objectives are we trying to achieve for that hotel? It may be that they're trying to expand their brand awareness in a particular feeder market. Whatever those kind of objectives and goals are, that's where we come in to really design a very customized plan to meet those needs.
Mm, okay. I mean, that sparks another question. I'm like, do you ever have hotels come to you and say, I don't actually know what my objective should be? I just know that I need to, well, maybe that is right. Maybe that's the point, is like, I need more direct bookings. Or, I mean, how broad do they come to you with needing your help?
I mean, it's a newer conversation outside of the AI, of course, which is very important. And just quickly on that, because how can you have any chat without talking about AI? But AI overviews and AI mode, let's say in Google, I think everybody should understand that it is pulling from large language models of
Yeah.
lots of different content out there. But don't forget about your own website, your own content that's out there. These
Right.
large language models, especially in the early stages, a lot of the data, for lack of better words, was coming from like YouTube,
Yeah.
for example, and your website. So some of the tried and true best practices when it comes around organic optimization of your website, in terms of having, structured data markup. Structured data markup is loved by the AI engine, if you will. So it's kind of a little bit of back to the basics. Make sure that you've got your house, your foundation in order out there. So just a little snippet about AI and how important it is as well in terms of really making sure you have a solid foundation of
Mhm.
your brand and your content out there so that these LLMs can quickly identify it and
Yeah.
return those results to travelers.
Well, and what you're saying is even, I think, applicable for our vendors who may be listening, or, anyone with a website really needs to be aware of those changes. So I think, having you guys educate on that is a must. I'm learning, to be honest, every day with that. And it's an interesting thing. I've had people call me and ask, like, are you ready? Are you ready for what, I guess getting rid of the blue links and all of these things. So there's a lot going on that you guys are keeping up with. But talking
So
about metrics.
if
So, oh,
well,
go ahead. Yeah.
back up, it's dominating the search results, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen sponsored listings, paid search, even meta search get pushed down a little bit on the search engine ranking placement
Wow.
aspect on like Google, for example. So we can't ignore it. It is, I mean, we're starting to see a drop in organic search visitation to hotel websites. And that's because these AI overviews and AI modes are giving consumers a lot of great content that's specific to what they're looking for.
Mm.
So many of them aren't even clicking through or getting that link, that blue link, to come to the website. That's a challenge
Yeah.
as an industry because there's not yet, it will be coming real quick, any way of kind of measuring how many times you were shown on an AI overview or an AI mode. But they got
Yeah.
exposure to your brand, just much like an
Mhm.
organic search and then a
Yeah.
visitor to your website. So that's going to change, though. Whoever invents that first is going to be probably pretty wealthy, and it's going to help
Better
agencies
desk.
like to go back and say, yeah, your organic brand search visitation is down, but look at this, your
Yeah.
AI overviews are way up.
I mean, that's so real life example that is just so applicable here is I was helping plan a trip for someone in our family to see the aurora. And I used, which I feel, like I'm like, I'm the one doing this. I'm that consumer. But I did use Chat GPT because I put in their age range. I explained what their hope was, which was to go see the Northern Lights. All of that. And we ended up narrowing down from like 4 to 1 property that actually knocks on your door and wakes you up if the aurora comes out in the middle of the night. Because if you're there for that, they want you to see it.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I would have found them otherwise. I've never been to this destination and I've never like researched it. And I mean, even in the hotel space, I don't know any hoteliers in this part of Alaska. So to that point, I don't know that hotel would ever know that's how we found them, but it did come through an AI search. So
There you go. I
yeah,
mean, content is still king, right? I mean,
yeah,
content's been king for a long time when it comes to SEO, organic optimization and visibility out there. So, hopefully that hotel, or maybe that hotel had some Aurora package or some content around it on their website, and that's where the AI overview picked it up.
I hope so. Let me know as you guys learn. We'll be looking to you. We'll be looking to you to learn more. But tell me about, in our last few minutes, some metrics that matter. So measuring what matters. I mean, ROAS is obviously not the only thing. So what are some metrics that can really, as you say it, reveal true revenue quality? And talk a little bit about the guest lifetime value too. I'm super curious how you advise your clients.
Yeah, so ROAS, as we were talking about earlier, is really that kind of short-term feel-good metric. As I often say, you can't take ROAS to the bank and deposit it. You can only take bookings and revenue from those bookings to the bank. It's important to be measuring your brand awareness. I
Right.
was having a conversation with the EOS hospitality team just a week or two ago, and we're talking about expanding our relationship, and we were talking about what's important in terms of KPIs.
Mhm.
And I think visitation, clicks, and click-through rate, and the typical metrics are still important,
Right.
but should be taken with a grain of salt. But the chief commercial officer, Ernest, said, we're thinking about a new KPI, which really measures brand awareness. Going back to what I said earlier about consumers not waking up and magically thinking of a name of a hotel,
Yeah.
something had to inspire them first. So he brought kind of an interesting KPI of measuring how many people make a brand search, and are we increasing the level of brand searches made. That's giving you kind of a
Mhm.
very big metric of like, is our brand awareness expanding out
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
And when it comes to, not all bookings are created equally. You know, just because you got a 2 night length of 2 night booking doesn't mean that that's the best booking you could have had. Did they visit your spot? Did they go into your restaurant?
Mm,
What is that true value of that customer there? They're not all created
right.
equal there. And that also goes where on ROAS and kind of being a somewhat of a faulty KPI is ROAS is only measured on the booking that occurred that time. But what if the hotel, hopefully, gives them a great experience and they earn a loyal customer that keeps coming back, year after
Right.
year, goes into
Yeah.
their spa, goes into their restaurants. So it's really that ROAS is missing that lifetime value of a guest that maybe it costs the hotel, $20 to acquire
Yeah.
that $500 booking, but maybe that guest lifetime value is in the thousands of dollars from that initial $20 investment to acquire that booking.
Yeah. Well, and I'm even thinking, and I don't know how you would measure this necessarily, is then the referrals, right? Because how many of us I stayed our honeymoon, we stayed on because my cousin had gone to that same resort for their honeymoon and it was perfect. And so, it's like there is so much probably implied value there that you may not even be able to measure. How many people is that guest now going to go tell about your
That's
property?
that's a great point. It's why we partner with Flip2, a little plug for them
Yes.
out there.
Love
Great
them.
company. Flip2, when you book one of their aspects that they provide hotels, when you book a reservation, at the confirmation page, you can share that you're going to whatever hotel and whatever destination. It creates
Yeah.
an instant kind of reward for that customer that booked it, as well as it shares a reward opportunity for their friends and family. It's just a great way of getting more exposure for your
So
hotel.
I know Ed is brilliant. So I think that it's such a phenomenal platform. And yeah, I mean, I have learned so much today, Chris. Thank you. It's kind of fun to dive back into the world of hotel marketing. I've been out of it for almost 10 years. And just hearing more about what you guys are talking about day to day is super intriguing. Is there any way, if, for those listening who might want to talk to you more, who are interested in G-commerce, MetaDesk, any of it, how would they best get in touch with you?
One of the easiest ways, the old tried and true format, email. You
Yeah.
can reach Chris at gcommercesolutions.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. And please do visit our two websites, gcommercesolutions.com and metadesk.pro. Also, just a quick opportunity to kind of go back to one of your questions. We do provide complimentary online assessments
Love
to
it.
hotels to help them and us
Yeah.
engagement to identify where is the low hanging fruit and where are the opportunities, what should be the objectives, what should be the goals. We can
Mm,
identify those through a complimentary online assessment as well.
that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that because I actually did not know that. So, for those listening, definitely reach out to Chris. You have fans coming in saying, great session. So, thank you so much. And, Chris, it was an honor and a joy to have you on our show. And we will also have this on YouTube if anyone wants to share with a friend. So, Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jasmine. Have a great day.
You too.
Cheers.